the right answer. Okay, so what are we going to do today? We're going to start with some like super easy things that you could do like anywhere, anytime to like calm down your body. And then we'll do some things in standing, some things lying on the floor, kind of gonna hit some highlights and not deep dive into any one particular thing. But start by rubbing your hands and generate some warmth, because your hands have 1,000,000 sensory nerve endings. I'm not sure if it's like literally 1,000,000. I'm just making that up, but I mean a lot, lots and lots of nerve endings. And your hands and your brain, there's lots of connections. All right. Hopefully, even though it's kind of a chilly day today, you can get them a little bit toasty. Really rub those darn things together. All right, now make sure you're sitting comfortable, but hopefully grounded. If you can either be sitting upright like I am with your feet firmly on the ground. If you're on a couch, feel free to like kind of lean back, but not too slouched, like tall and supported wherever you are. Okay, then place your nice warm cozy hands over your eyeballs and just gently press your hands against your eye sockets. Good. Stay there with your hands on your eyeballs and take we'll say about a minute. We'll hang out here. And I'm going to ask you to feel a few things. One is try to feel the warmth of your hands on your eyes. If they're still chilly, maybe you'll feel the cold of your hands on your eyes, and that could be nice as well. So sensing the temperature of your hands and the temperature of your eyeballs. And then feel the pressure of your hands around your eye sockets. And use that pressure to cue your eye muscles and your face to let go of any tension you have in that area. Then, without changing anything, just notice your breathing. You might notice where you feel your breath in your body. You might notice the pace of your breathing. And then notice if now that you're aware of your breathing, if it's starting to change. Next, take note of what you are sitting on and what your body is in contact with. So your feet on the floor, your butt on your chair. What parts of your body are literally touching and have pressure? And how does that sensation feel to you? Then lastly, starting at your feet, scan from the ground up and just notice any sensations that you have in your body with no judgment, no good or bad, just noticing what sensations you are aware of. Awesome. Okay, you can take your hands off your eyes, and hopefully, now that you've been in the dark for a little bit, you're totally now in a new zone of being. Okay, we're going to start with just a little bit of shoulder relaxation. So lift your shoulders all the way up to your ears, and I guarantee they can go a little bit higher than you think they can go. So keep going a little bit higher. Great. And then just to slowly bring them back down. It's like a 10-floor elevator descent, and like the world's slowest elevator. Let's do that one more time. Slowly lift the shoulders up. Once you're at the top, again, can you go a little bit higher with the shoulders? And then slowly down. I'm going to count you down. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. Next, have a loose grab of your forearms and pivot your arms and shoulder blades side to side, or in a bit of a rotational movement around your torso. And as you do this, your spine does not move. Good. So we're going to move the shoulder blades by twisting your arms. And at this height, your shoulders hopefully feel somewhat loose. Like this is not challenging at all. So can you feel your shoulder blades, the scapula, pivoting around your rib cage? There's a ton of muscles that attach your shoulder blades to your ribs. And we're gently giving them some movement. I'm particularly thinking like the lower traps and the mid traps. I'm just going for a ride. Okay, lift your elbows a little higher. Keep going. Then a little bit higher. And start to at some point feel more restriction and tension, which just means you're going to move smaller. It's not going to be as far of a twist. All right, now up to you on whether you continue going higher, but let's go a little bit more if it feels okay. At this point, those lower traps are likely starting to pull a bit more. Maybe a little higher. All right, and then just easy peasy, every twist lower a little bit so that we work our way back down. All right, so this is a nice like middle of the workday tension reliever. You do it anywhere, within reason. All right, shake it out. All right, gonna use our fingers again. Take your thumbs and try to find a hurt so good, but be nice to yourself spot under the brow bone where you can kind of dig in and find a spot that feels nice. So if you come in like to the base of your nose and maybe go outwards a thumb distance or so, somewhere in there is usually a good spot. You can just put some upward pressure, sort of a digging in and up. Maybe let the weight of your head fall into your thumbs a smidge, but only as much as you want. You can just hold it there or just take a little tiny back and forth massage. Okay, and then next, with your pointer fingers, or really any finger, but I'm going to try the pointer finger, just massage along the base, along the ridge of your nose, the bridge of your nose, kind of like you're trying to just drain out your sinuses. Hopefully you have a little moisture somewhere on your face or your fingers. You can just lightly massage with your sweat or oil that you have naturally on your skin. Okay. So there's some big nerve endings around here that can tense up. So we're going to try to make those happy. Okay, next we're going to come out to your ears, and I'm going to ask you to do some weird things. Just go with it. So first, grab your ears, and you're going to pull sort of a J down and out. I'm kind of pulling down and outwards. Notice if you feel anything interesting, perhaps some soreness, tension. And then pull the middle of your ear and the top of your ear, and you can play around with whether it's side or maybe side and back, maybe even upwards or a little bit forward. See if you feel any tension that feels, again, like a hurt so good feeling, a productive feeling. Okay, and then lastly, with your pointer fingers, dig your fingers in your ears like I can't hear you, and push your fingers forward. And maybe you could swallow and see if you feel anything. All right. Whew. All right, gonna, just like we did with your eyeballs, gonna do that with your jaw. So hook a thumb and right at the back of your jaw with your thumb, come forward a bit until you feel like there's meat, like enough meat space that you can get your thumb under there. And play around and find a spot where you think you can maybe sink your thumb in that also feels nice, like productively nice. Again, a hurts so good feeling. And once you find that, you can sink your head into your thumb, like you're thinking, and either hold it there. It might feel like a bit like a toothache. I mean, I don't want it to hurt, just feel nice. Or you can gently circle or just go up and down with your thumb, or really forward or back. And find a spot that feels like it might actually release some tension. Anything that feels like just like concrete, just move along. Find something that feels like taffy that warms up and gets looser as you put pressure and tension into it. Now, if you're not finding much back there, you might find something closer to the center line, to the midline. So feel free to slide your thumb around and dig on in there. If you clench your jaw or have had a lot of neck tension, maybe even just a lot of speaking, you might feel a lot of tension in here. This is literally the root of your tongue, where your tongue attaches and roots into your jaw. Ooh. All right, let's head over to the other side if you haven't already. So just dig your thumb in. Okay. And I say start where we did before on the back side. Let your head sink into your thumb if it feels good. And then either just let it chill and relax or move your thumb forward back. Does this side feel like the other side? Does it feel dramatically different, tighter or looser? If it does, perhaps you can speculate as to why. I know I sleep on one side mostly, and that jaw is tighter. Could be other reasons. And continue coming forward towards your midline if you're ready to continue exploring elsewhere. So fun fact, I didn't test this out, but if you had made sung a note before we started doing this tongue massage, and then sung a note afterwards, your voice will likely be a little bit deeper. So likely if your voice is feeling very higher than normal, you might have some tension here. Ooh, alrighty. Ooh, I feel I could do this all day, but we'll move along. Okay, so the next muscle we're going to attend to is the sternocleidomastoid, or SCM muscle, and it's a big diagonal that runs from your ear down to your sternum. And there's lots of good things that run behind it, like nerves and such. So if you actually tip your ear towards your shoulder a little bit and forward, like you're going to maybe stargaze on the opposite side, you're going to put a little slack on there. And somewhere in that area, you're going to be able to pinch that big muscle. There, let's see. There. And right where my thumb is, if you're in the middle of that muscle, you might find some good stuff. And I'm not looking to like kill yourself. Just try to grab that muscle and pull it, traction a little bit away from the nerves that live underneath it, so that the blood flow can like rush into those nerves and be like, oh, thank you. I can take a break. Spa day. Well, these are all the nerves that run into your arm. So fun fact, nerves like oxygen and blood flow. They don't like to be like living in a vice, cramped up. Because you would. All right, head over to the other side. So tip your ear towards your shoulder, look up in the opposite direction. And Just kind of move your head around until you find the right spot that puts that muscle on some slack, helps it relax. So you can grab the midpoint. That feels just really stiff or sensitive. You can just, without grabbing it, perhaps just kind of like massage it, pet it nicely. If pinching feels a bit aggressive. All right, next we're going to come down to your collarbone. So your collarbone is used and abused and gets pretty stiff easily. So right at the base of my neck is my sternum. And then from there, I'm just going to try to trace my fingers along the collarbone. And it's a bit of a wavy bone. So if you end up on something that feels like not bone, just go back a bit and see if you can find it again and see if you can trace it all the way out to your shoulder. Okay, other side. So start in the center and then trace your collarbone from the center to the outside. So there are lots of really important structures that run underneath your collarbone, which means there's lots of muscles and connective tissue that holds it in place to protect your nerves, your arteries, veins, lymphatic system, as it all drains into your heart. Okay, so under your collarbone is your rib cage. Take one hand and we're going to put the heel of your hand, like right where your big thumb meat is, and place it right at the bottom edge of your collarbone and just off center of your sternum. So that hand is going to be essentially on your upper ribs. We'll say rib 2, really. And then the other hand, you're going to use this one a little bit more strongly and forcefully to mash it down and mash into yourself, and then let the weight of your arm pull down a bit. Okay, so your ribs on that side are now very stabilized. With your chin, we're going to stretch all the muscles by moving your chin. So tuck your chin in, and that might be enough to already feel some stretch. Now we can play around with where your head goes, but follow along for a moment before you get too fancy and creative. So chin tuck, tip your head away from the side that your hands are on, and then nod your head back so that you're looking up towards the ceiling. The stretch that I'm hoping you feel is your scalenes. And scalenes are 3 muscles, and all your brachial plexus, aka arm nerves, travels through there. Now from here, feel free to fine tune your stretch by maybe looking down a bit towards your shoulder, or rolling your head back and looking up towards the ceiling. And if you spend a lot of time at a computer, your phone, driving, these might be, or just stress for any reason, these might be kind of stiff. If you feel like you have numbness in your hands, carpal tunnel syndrome symptoms, this often is a good place to spend some time. And then feel free to just move your head around any which way and just notice how changing your head position changes the stretch sensation. You keep your neck long and like the movement stretching away from your body, likely you can feel at least some stretch no matter where your head goes relative to your body. All right, find a mild stretch, and then open and close your mouth. Kind of like you're really trying to pull your jaw away from your hands. All right, and then ease back out. Ooh. Okay, so let your arms drape somewhere by your side and take a couple breaths. Do you feel a little difference now, right versus left, in your chest or your neck or your breathing? Yeah. The side we just stretched on me just feels lots heavier. So let's do side two. So heel of your hand is going to come right under your collarbone at the just outside of your sternum, and let that hand rest, whereas the other hand is going to press inwards, and the weight of my hand is going to just pull downwards. Then the chin, tuck your chin back, a little double chin action, like your head's on a shelf and just sliding back on the shelf. Tip your head away from your hands, then nod and rotate back. Great. So by having your hands here, hopefully you can feel that the muscles literally attached down into your ribs. All right, from here, you can feel free to subtly change the rotation of your head, maybe nod forward, nod back. And then once you've done that, feel free to explore a little bit more beyond there, perhaps going farther back with your head or forward. See if you can feel other areas of your neck stretching. And lastly, find a medium to mild stretch, nothing too intense, and open and close your jaw, moving your jaw away from your hands. You know, this is my less tight jaw, and it feels totally different and easier. I feel like I'm a fish when I do this. All right, come on down. Ooh. Okay, now let's get our whole spine moving. This is my favorite do anywhere, like I'm small, I can do it on a plane. I was gonna say plane, but that's maybe not apply to everyone. We'll say a train station. Okay, sit up, maybe the DMV. There we go. Sit up nice and tall. And I do want you to lean slightly forward so you're not on your tailbone. So my spine is a bit of an angle. I'm not like sitting on my tailbone. And then from here, twist your whole spine and just notice how far you can go without losing the length of your spine. No side bending, no arching or rounding, just a pure rotation. Okay, and then take note of, is there anything that's stopping you from moving farther comfortably? As in, what's the tightest part? What's the weak length of allowing you to go farther? Is it your ribs? Is it the shoulder blade area? Is it your neck, your lower back? All right, slowly unwind and head over to side two. Same question, what's stopping you from going farther? All right, come on back. All right, that was our pre-test, so we're add-on now. So twist to side one, or whichever one you want to start with, doesn't matter too much. And we're gonna stay twisted, so if you need to turn your body for a moment to see me, or just peek your eyes every once in a while, feel free. Okay, your back hand, put it behind your head. Okay, now as you are twisting, you're going to continue twisting that same direction. Can you open your elbow and look with your eyes to twist a little bit farther? Now my other hand is on my leg, trying to help leverage me around into the twist. Just helping, not being aggressive. All right, we're going to add a side bend of your spine towards your knees. So lengthen up through your spine, and then lift your back elbow up to the ceiling and bend forward towards your knees, essentially opening up the ribs on that back side of your body. Great. Now, if anything feels pinchy, feel free to like maybe back off with your shoulder or something, but otherwise try to continue opening your chest up to the ceiling. Look behind you and upwards. And then breathe into those back ribs. Imagine there's sunshine in your body and you want the sunshine to make its way through the space of every single rib, like you're opening up the blinds. And if you haven't already, try to feel that stretch in your lower back. Maybe you need to drop your head farther forward or just lift up through your core a little bit. Okay, now I will say, listen, move slowly. I'm going to keep the twist, but undo your side bend. So look behind you, sit up tall and straight, and then drop your back hand towards your chair. You can grab your chair, whatever you can reach, and then can you twist a little bit farther? Look farther behind you. Sit up a little bit taller, breathe. Then slowly unwind. Ooh, okay. Now with your abs only, same direction, just twist and see how far you can go with just your core, no extra hand assist. And then come back to the center. Okay, side two. At first, you might still be stuck on side one, so give yourself a little extra time to breathe into side two. And now pivot, there we go. Okay, so we're sitting nice and tall, twist slowly. And whenever you feel a bit of tension, just take a moment and breathe and see if you can lengthen your body to create more space to twist. Then with your back hand behind your head, sit up super tall. Continue twisting, but add the side bend forward. So back elbow goes up, head goes towards your knees. And continue opening your chest if it's at all possible. And breathe into top ribs. If you're not feeling it in your lower back yet, think of maybe pulling those lower abs in to compress your lower back. Those joints are only going to loosen up if they feel safe and supported. All right, open up that chest a little bit more if it's at all possible. Maintain your twist as you now come out of that side bend and continue looking behind you. Okay, you can use your hands at first to see if you can get a little more twist. And then breathe into your super wound up position. Unwind yourself. And then we'll finish up by trying to use your abs to create that same rotation. Ideally, you can actively do anything that you can passively do, or at least have them to be somewhere close. Okay. Woo-wee. Okay, let's stand on up. You can put your chair away. All right. We've done a ton of breathing and moving from the hips up. So take a moment and feel your feet on the ground. And notice where your weight is on your feet. Is it in your heels, the balls of your feet, the outside, or the inside? And what I want you to hopefully find is 60% of your weight on the balls of your feet, 40% on your heels. So if your weight's in your heels, imagine there's a gust of wind blowing you forward to unlock your knees and shift your weight forward so that you have a good 60% on the balls of your feet, because the balls of your feet are longer than the heels, so needs more than half. Good. And if you're on the outsides or the inside, see if you can just subtly shift and find a more neutral split between outside and inside. All right, soften your knees and give yourself a little bounce. And notice if your bounce feels soft or clunky. So softness means that your pelvis is over the arches of your feet. Your ribs is over your pelvis, so the diaphragm and pelvic floor are moving, and your head is right on top of your body. Something feels really kind of clunky. So actually everyone shift your weight into your heels so that you're more on the back of your body. It should feel more, I don't know, aggressively compressive. And then come forward and see if you can find that softness in opposition to that. Awesome, and then come to a stop. Whew. All right, now everyone lift your big toes up, but keep the little toes down. And then press your big toes down, lift your little toes up. If this is hard at first, feel free to kind of like roll your feet inwards. Okay, and then switch, little toes down, big toes up. If it's hard, just roll your feet outwards. But as you get better at it, keep all of the knuckles of your toes on the floor. So it's just your toes moving. And then switch again. Switch again. Switch again. All right, keep going. But what I want you to notice is that as you switch between big toes and little toes, you get a little bit of rotation in your hips. And if that's not obvious, put your hands on your legs and go even farther, like lifting up the whole outside of your foot or lifting up the whole inside of your foot. So it feels more like bigger movement. And then can you feel how that little bit of that differentiation between big toes and little toes creates different muscle tension in your hips? And again, if it's not obvious, push harder, lift higher, roll farther. And then once you feel it, see if you can find the more subtleness by just moving the toes. And really what's happening as you're just moving your toes, you're using only the deepest layer of muscles, the deepest layer of muscles in your calf, the deepest muscles of your hip, and your pelvic floor. The bigger movements are going to use the more superficial muscles, which are the ones that you think about much more often, which maybe you can visualize. The little ones, you have to trust me that they exist. We can talk about it, do some coloring if you'd like. All right, now press your big toes into the ground. And as you press your big toes firmly into the ground, can you feel a little work in your inner legs and maybe into your core? Perhaps you can feel a bit of relaxation in your back. All right, now press with your little toes. You can lift the big toes or just kind of leave them to relax. And as you push the little toes down into the floor, can you feel perhaps more in your hamstrings? Maybe the outer calves, maybe your glutes. And then press everything down, big toes and little toes. And create all of that good downward tension. And from that, imagine your feet are really imprinting and rooting into the floor. And in opposition, allow your spine to easily float upwards. Like there's a ball on your head, and then you're going to push that ball to the ceiling. And maybe you grew an inch taller. Maybe you feel an inch taller. All right, relax. Ooh-wee. Okay, we're gonna do what's called the rag doll. So you having a sense of heaviness or groundedness into the floor. And we're gonna move everything from the pelvis up, really from, let's say belly button up, and everything else is down. So from here down, you're gonna be like full of sand. From belly button up, you're like the used car floppy person, a rag doll. So going to roll forward over your pelvis. And I'm thinking of making a candy cane shape. Imagine someone's grabbing your pelvis and holding it still that you can really flop over. And as you're flopping over, take a couple of good exhales and think of like zipping up a tight pair of jeans so that your lower abs are pulling in. And as you pull in the lower abs, can you feel the lower back open up a little bit? Now, oftentimes I see folks wanting to let their tailbone swing out, but I want your tailbone to be super heavy. Like you have a tail, a big lion tail. It's made of gold or something super heavy. And the same thing with your head. Let your head be really heavy. You have the world's heaviest hair. All right, now you're in this nice rounded over candy cane shape. You're gonna roll your candy cane or rotate to one side so that your body is over 1 foot. And now once you're here, hopefully you can feel more stretch on the ribs of the far side of your body. And then continue circling into a side bend. All right. Now I'm going to go the reverse and go forward again instead of going backwards. All right, so come forward, let your chest drape over that 1 foot, shift to the center, and then continue to the other foot, and then side bend. Great. Now the backwards section is always a little bit tricky for some folks, especially if it's not something you do often. So keep your legs grounded, lift your chest like someone's pulling your sternum up to the ceiling and circle all the way on the back half and finish in your side bend. Great. And then push through your feet, come back up so you can breathe and feel normal. Whew. All right, that's the rag doll. And it's a weird exercise, but it gets your whole spine moving like an accordion. Let's do that twice each direction. And let's start from the side. We'll go all the way around, center, other side, all the way around, twice, center. So here we go. Either side, side bend over. And then rotate your chest towards your foot. Feel that nice stretch on the back ribs. And as you come through the center, check and make sure you're really hollowed up through your core. Continue towards the other foot, side bend, and then lift your chest up to the sky to circle the back half. Side bend. That's one circle. One more in this direction to get our 2. So round forward towards your foot, hollow forward, towards the other foot, side bend, lift your chest, side bend, push your feet into the floor to come back up. Ooh, okay. Side 2. Side bend over. You are a rag doll. Your spine is made of, I don't know, toy things. Tinker toys. Rotate towards your foot. Round forward. As you round forward, check in with those abs. Is it supporting your lower back? Continue to the other foot. Open up those ribs so that you can side bend. And then circle back, chest to the ceiling. Your head is just relaxed back. Shouldn't feel uncomfortable. All right, once you're in your side bend, we got one more circle to go. Round forward towards your foot. Hollow forward. Hollow is a very active word, by the way. To the other foot. Side bend. Up and around. side bend, and press up. Whew. All right, let's get to the floor, shall we? Okay, so have your rolled up towel handy, but don't need that just yet. And pillows are just optional. So if you ever feel like you just need some support. Okay, so we're gonna again use your core, a little ab work, just like your ragdoll. So reach your arms forward and start by sitting up tall. Give me a really strong exhale, like I think like a fire hydrant or a dragon blowing fire. And as you do that exhale, sort of like if you cough, but slow motion cough, and the abs are naturally going to engage. And the abs, let them pull in and push your pelvis backwards so that you can roll slowly down to the ground, one bone at a time. Okay, Kaylin, put my microphone back here somewhere. Let's see if I can dig it out. Hold on. No, okay. Oh, I got it. Okay, there we go. Great. All right, wrap up and join me again. Can you move slower this time? So exhale, roll down, and notice how many bones that you can move onto the floor with control. Hopefully it's more than one. All right, rock up or roll up one more time. This time though, so let's pause, time out. At first, I asked you to open your mouth and breathe like a dragon. This time, I want you to press your tongue up against the palate, the roof of your mouth. Press your tongue up and see if that makes it any easier to roll down. Just a different strategy. I find it more tension-filled, but I want you to feel the difference. All right, and then relax. Set your feet flat on the ground and just take a couple of deep breaths and feel your body being supported on the floor. Your abdominals can do a lot of different things depending on what you want your abs to, what you need them for, right? So whether you're lifting up something, if you're lifting something really heavy, you need strong abs, but braced outwards, that you have a really wide, strong core. If you're trying to be bendy like a snake, let's say a belly dancer, a contortionist, the abs need to be pulled inwards against your spine. And you want to exhale so that everything is more held tight, but movable. So let's just take a few breaths. And I want you to first think about how much you can exhale. So inhale, maybe a medium amount, then exhale all the air out of your body. And each time you exhale, can you exhale a little bit more volume of air outwards, more than you thought was possible even. All right, so things that might be happening as you exhale, the base of your ribs might be coming together and flexing forward. Your guts are getting mashed and your pelvis might be rocking towards your ribs. So notice if that's happening. Okay, we're going to capitalize on that rounding effect of the exhale. Just like if you're going to take a big cough, if you've been sick recently, you can recall like coughing makes you round. Okay, so use that exhale to create a sense of roundness and flexion in your body. Let's bring one knee up and pull it into your chest nice and firmly. I don't care if you grab your shin or grab underneath grab your hamstring, whichever is most comfy. But as you're pulling your leg in, do try to keep your neck and shoulders relaxed. All right, so from here, as you continue exhaling, feel your abs pushing your spine into the floor. So you're really feeling stable. And then flex to the bottom foot. And as if you're on the beach, like in the sand, push your heel down along the sand and ideally straighten your leg. If it feels tension before then, just go as far as you can. Straighten your leg and notice at some point it's going to want to pull your lower back off the ground. And you can let that happen, but reluctantly so. All right, then use your exhale to pull your top leg back into your body and slide that bottom leg back in. All right, let's try that twice more. So ground your core and then press your bottom leg away, keeping your lower back on the ground for as long as possible. If it needs to start to rock forward, allow that to happen only reluctantly. Hopefully you'll find a bit of lengthening in your hip. All right, on your next exhale, just pull it all back in. All right, on the last one, I want you to rotate your foot out sort of like Dorothy would with your feet turned out like a little ballerina. So just slightly different variation, but same exact movement. Exhale, stabilize your core and slide your leg out. Is that easier or just different? And then once you get to the bottom, rotate your leg in. It's pretty hard to rotate in at that point. Exhale, come back in. So let's actually try that. We'll do it one more. Rotate your leg in. It's a little bit awkward, which was why I wasn't going to do it initially. And keep your foot rotated in as you slide it out. Feel how awkward and weird that is, but it's going to give you a different stretch sensation. Ooh. All right. Okay. So now stretch both legs out. Just relax both legs out. That was a lot of effort, right? Especially if we're a chill out class. Do you feel any different side to side from just doing that one movement asymmetrically? I feel a little bit more grounded on the side that we were stretching. Okay, side two, grab your other leg, shin or hamstring. Give me a couple good exhales to stabilize your core. Check in that there's no excess tension in the neck and shoulders. And then we're going to slide your bottom leg down. So flex your foot, slide your heel out to the sand. And then notice when you're going to take up the slack and your spine wants to rock forward. On your next exhale, just pull it all back in. Okay, stabilize those abs. Give me a good strong exhale. And then slide your bottom heel down and away. All right, bring it on back in. Most people tend to have a tighter side and a looser side, so maybe think about which one this is for you. Does it feel dramatically different or just subtly different? Or maybe you're one of those odd folks that's symmetrical. That would be nice. Okay, so then let's rotate out like a little ballerina with your foot. Slide it out again. And this should feel a little bit easier for probably 70, 80% of people, but you might feel a different sensation, like maybe more of an inner thigh stretch. Once you're at the bottom, rotate your leg in. Feel how hard that is now that you're probably a little bit farther out. Bring your leg back in, and then the last one, rotate your leg inwards, the awkward sauce. Slide your leg out. I was thinking of the not ballerina, Barbie leg, like you're trying to pull the Barbie leg out of the pelvis of the Barbie doll. And with your leg rotated in, it's a lot harder because you're so much more wound up. All right, bring it back in. Whew. Oh, push both legs out. So now that we've done all those heel slides, with your legs out straight, hopefully you feel pretty relaxed on the ground, with your lower back feeling like it may not be in contact fully, but at least grounded and not tense is my goal for you. And if not yet, then what we'll do next will continue helping that happen. Okay, cross your right knee over your left knee, and your arms can just be wherever the heck you want them to be. We have been doing lots of grounding through your body, and that is not going to change. So your ribs should be nice and heavy on the floor, and your shoulder blades on the floor. So take a moment and just feel your ribs. What parts of the ribs are in contact? And your shoulder blades, what do you feel touching the floor? And I want you to try to keep that contact. And if you lose the contact, bring it back as soon as possible. Okay, now with your legs, the knee that's on top, you're going to twist that knee towards the opposite side. So you're going to lift up one side of your pelvis off the floor. And now already likely you have your ribs have rolled off the floor as well, which is going to happen. But hopefully your shoulder blade is still really grounded. And then as you return to upright, can you pull those ribs down to the ground before your pelvis touches? So it's going to be ribs touching the floor just prior to your pelvis returning to the ground. So repeat, twist your legs. Feel when the ribs leave the floor. And feel when it's just your shoulder blade grounded. Now, as you come up, if you do a good exhale and pull those abs in, it's going to help you lengthen and create more nuance of your spine. Maybe the ribs can touch a little bit sooner than the first time. All right, one more time. Twist your legs to the side. Give me a strong exhale, pull the ribs to the ground, and then return your legs to the top. We're going to keep the legs exactly the same. The tendency is to want to wiggle your foot to midline, but keep it in line with your left hip, or whatever leg is on the floor, that's the same hip it's lined up with. Then rotate the legs in the other direction. Now, when your back is feeling a bit on the tight side, it's going to be in a sort of an arch Superman position, but we've been working on trying to get it lengthened out, relaxing the back muscle. So maybe you can lengthen your hip away from your ribs and feel more a sense of length in your lower back here. Anytime you feel like your knees are getting a little bit yanked around, just flex your feet harder, usually solves that problem. I don't want you to feel like your knees are getting tweaked. All right, then exhale, can you use your abs to pull you back to the center? Just one more time this way. Twist your legs over to the side. And then lengthen that top hip away from your ribs if there's any more space available. Exhale, come back to the center. All right, slide both legs out nice and long. And see if that little bit of twisting did anything to your body in a nice way to create more relaxation, more space. If you're like watching TV, you just keep going. You could do 30, 40 reps. You'd be even loosey-gooseier. All right, side two, feet lined up with your hips. Cross your left knee over the right knee. And then when I go to the right, assuming you have the same leg on top as me, so twist the legs over. Ooh, this is my tighter side. Give me a good exhale and pull the ribs to the ground and bring your legs back to center. All right, shoulder grounded, ribs grounded. Let the legs twist away so you're wringing yourself out. All right, once you're in your twist, just notice how far apart your ribs and your pelvis is. So ribs trying to stay towards the ground as the pelvis is pulling it away. Exhale, pull your abs in. Return to normal. All right, last one. Rotate, creating that nice spine twist. Imagining every single bone getting a little bit of twist, and they're all twisting equally. Then exhale, pull yourself back to the center. Great. Take a moment to pause before we go the other direction. Your base foot is in line with the hip of the same side. Feel your ribs and shoulders heavy on the ground. And then twist your legs the opposite direction. So in this direction, emphasize lengthening your hip away from your ribs, especially the back side, because it wants to be arched, like a Superman, be more, not even hollow body. It's really more an equal tension front and back. But to come up, exhale as if you were going to do a hollow body, to pull yourself back to the center. All right, we got one more. Rotate the legs. And lengthen your hip farther away if it's at all possible. And then exhale, pull yourself back up. All right, stretch your legs out like a big sexy starfish. How does your lower back feel? Does it feel pretty close to the ground? It's very hard to have your lower back on the ground with your legs extended. So to really experience that, bring your legs more like normal standing, hip width apart, and you likely have enough space under your back that you can put your hand. That's normal. But when you relax, hopefully your back gets closer to the ground. Okay, so now we're going to come back up to sitting and grab your towel roll. If you have a foam roll, that's fine as well, but it needs to be like the 3-foot long ones, because I want you to fit from tailbone to head. And for whatever reason that doesn't happen, I have two options for you. One, probably you need to scoot closer to the edge, or just grab a pillow or two to put under your head. So almost everyone can fit on a 3-foot foam roll. So if you really sit on the very bottom of your towel, because we want to rock back, so we don't need to have like a ton of space to sit on. Sit at the very edge like you're about to fall off, and then lie on back to your towel or foam roll. Okay, now from here, we're just going to relax, and you can walk your feet a little bit wider so you feel stable, and let your arms be at whatever height feels comfortable. Ideally, comfortable means like minimal to no tension. And with your arms supported as you lie here, hopefully your ribs, your pecs, your chest is just like turning off and absolutely relaxing. Okay, here's a great time to check in with where you feel the sensation of breathing into your body. Your spine is supported by your towel. So your ribs are now free to expand a little bit more freely on the back and sides. Place your hands, one on your chest and one maybe on your upper abdomen, and feel the breath as far as the up and down expansion. So as you're breathing in, you can feel hopefully some pressure downwards into the towel and upwards into your hands. The next dimension I'm going to talk about is length. Can you feel your breath going all the way down into your pelvis? So fun fact, your jaw and your pelvis are very much interconnected, and tension in your jaw and upper neck likely means that there's tension in your tailbone and pelvic floor. But since we spent so much time relaxing your jaw and neck earlier, hopefully your pelvic floor is more relaxed and willing to accept some movement with your breath. And then super fun fact, the sensation of your feet in your pelvic floor and your genitals live side by side in your brain. So awareness of your feet and your pelvic floor and your jaw, upper neck, all really go hand in hand. And likely if there's issues in one area, there's issues in the other, but getting the whole thing moving better, it just makes the whole system work better together. All right, we are three-dimensional people. So the last dimension is sideways. So place your hands on the sides of your ribs, the lower sides, maybe towards belly button height, and try to find some lateral, AKA sideways expansion of your breath. Good. Put it all together and breathe in all three dimensions at the same time. I'm not meaning like crazy big breaths, just as you breathe, as if you're breathing into a balloon, everything is going to expand in all three dimensions at the same time. And reach your arms forward to your knees. Okay. Inhale, reach overhead with your arms, and then soften your elbows like they're melting. Find the floor again and exhale. Slide your arms along the ground to reset to your knees. We repeat that circle a couple of times. So inhale, reach overhead. Relax your arms. Find the floor. Exhale down. Inhale, reach overhead. Exhale, melt the elbows, melt the arms into the floor. Reset. Now keep circling. As the arms go overhead, hopefully your ribs are really grounded and heavy at this point so they don't rise up as the arms reach overhead. Rather, I'm hoping your arms can move fairly independently and freely. Although if you have lots of tension connecting them together, you'll find out here, which means you may need to limit the size of your reach until things start to loosen up a bit. All right, one last big circle. Inhale, reach overhead. And then exhale down. All right, bring your arms somewhat low, like a low angle, like an A, a capital A. And see if you can let your shoulder blades relax a little bit more, meaning just drop to the floor. And then with absolute ease and like minimal to no stretch, lift your arms or slide your arms up until you feel like you're at the height, or if you went farther, you would feel a little bit of stretch somewhere, or something might want to lift off the floor. If you're in a foam roll, it's going to be much lower. If you have a half roll or a towel, it'll be a little higher. And then imagine you're on we'll say a lake and a log, and there's a little bit of wind. So roll your body side to side. Now, if your towel is really, I don't know, hard on your back, you can go ahead and like roll off your towel. But if you're feeling okay, stay put. Same if you have a really hard foam roll, you might be starting to feel that pressure by now. So as you're rolling side to side, the entire spine is rolling or rocking, kind of like you're in a cradle rocking. And you might feel a subtle sense that the ribs are pulling away from the shoulder blade on one side, and then as you rock the other side, it's pulling away. All right, everyone go ahead and roll off of your towel or foam roll, push it aside, and just lie on the ground in whatever way is comfortable. My suggestion is to walk your feet a little wider and drop your knees in so that they can support each other. And then stretch your arms out, cross your arms over like you're giving yourself a really big hug. But then relax your arms, perhaps let them rest over your eyes. And in this position, the back of your body is really expanded, meaning the back of your pelvis and the space between your shoulder blades is now expanded. And just feel that width back there. Then place your hands under the base of your head. You can interlace them or stack them, but support the base of your head. And then I imagine like I'm on a beach somewhere lovely. So I'm going to say Mexico. And use your hands to curl your head up off the floor like you're in a hammock. And that means your elbows can come forward so you feel kind of cradled into yourself. And as your arms pull up, can you relax your shoulder blades down away from your ears? And let your head feel supported by your hands. And then attempt to lengthen your neck by letting your head melt slowly to the floor and giving a gentle pull with your hands so that as you return to the ground, you're a little bit taller than you were before. Okay, your hands are still the boss. Side bend your head a little bit to one side. So, with one arm pulled down so that one elbow is reaching sort of towards that hip. And put your head into a bit of a side bend. So that one side of your neck is longer and one side's now a little bit crunched. And shift your eyes towards the crunched side of your neck. Maybe you can look down towards your knee. I want you to just breathe and maybe think of something that has made you happy in the past few hours or few days. As in, think of a positive thought. And notice where in your body that you feel that positive thought. All right, use your hands, come back to the center, and then shift your head to the other side. So your elbow is going down to your hip. And this can be a really small, subtle movement. And with your eyes, look down towards your knee. All right, come up with another positive thought. And when in doubt with positive thoughts, I go towards food. So sometimes I'm like peanut butter, jelly, peanut butter, jelly. Or it can be more meaningful and like a true gratitude type thought. Let's see if you can notice where you feel gratitude in your body. All right, come back to the middle. And then with your hands one last time, curl up into your hammock. And maybe curl up a little bit higher, like you got a really saggy hammock. And let the weight of your head feel extra heavy. So the back of your neck gets a gentle stretch. And then your head is so heavy, it's going to pull you back down, just roll to the floor. All right, everyone. Hopefully you feel much more relaxed here. So we will call it a day. Feel free to hang out on the floor a bit longer if you want. Take a nap. My husband fell asleep over there. And if you have any questions, I'll stick around. Cheers.
Thank you.
You're welcome.